CEO of Leanway Consulting and Equity Partners and former director of Illinois Central Management Services.
All right, Malcolm, we got a pretty exciting program. As most people know, we've been talking about the fact that it is Cannabis Month. We have a focus each month on a particular committee, and we have 12 standing committees, and this month is Cannabis Month. And I would say Hoodwink Month or something like that for cannabis.
Uh-oh, Larry. Uh-oh. Hoodwink Month. I mean, here we are still, again, 2 years later, right? And no black ownership. I mean, and dispensary ownership, no black, just
probably no black employees. Maybe no black employees at the dispensary. I don't know.
I mean, they might be few and far between. I mean, it is. It's unfortunate, and it's real crazy. It shows you how things are communicated to our people because, everywhere, if you were to read about, what Illinois is saying about our cannabis industry here is that it's the most inclusive and the most diverse. And it's like literally like, it's like Donald Trump kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, no, don't believe your eyes. Listen to me. It's the best. It's great.
Well, also, I know we have our chair of the Cannabis Committee that's going to be coming on here in just a moment. But before we bring him on, I do want to talk about a couple things real quick. One is that we have our convention coming up, Malcolm, and it is a convention that's designed for Black business. So I'm going to give a quick highlight, and then we're going to roll right into a couple other things, and we're going to bring our chair on. But the convention is going to kick off what we call our pre-launch with a VIP cruise at the Spirit of the Navy Pier. It will be a day of great networking. People from all around the country will be flying in for this event. We will board at 6 o'clock and we will shove off at 7 and get back at 9:30. It is going to be a beautiful event with great people to network and to get ready to rock and roll on August the 16th, 17th, and 18th. And that's going to be a day to remember. You don't want to miss this event, guys, because we got some of the most powerful people in the country flying in for the conference. It will be a who's who. We're going to be talking about energy, not just in terms of, but we're talking about alternative energy, all forms of energy, the charging stations. It's going to be a really robust conversation. We're going to be talking about a number of other critical issues like IT and technology. We got a gentleman who was from the White House who's going to be flying in for the IT committee from the technology side, Malcolm, that you chair. We also have on the first day close to 50 companies, organizations that will be doing matchmaking. And that means that for those who get registered in your business, we will match make you with over 50 different companies. That will be the kickoff of the conference, and that will start at registration at around 8 to 9, and then we kick off that until about 3:30, 4 o'clock, and it's going to be an exciting first day. Then we close that off with the event that we do with the entertainment. So we have a powerful entertainment and sports panel with great food and refreshments on that first day. But it's going to be off the chain. So I'm pretty excited about it. And we're going to be talking about it. We're going to be talking about it, Malcolm.
Heck yeah, that boat ride is going to be great. I mean, you really need to think about it. Great atmosphere, captured audience to talk to all business partners and people. Absolutely wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. I'm looking forward to it. It's been 2 years before since we've been able to actually interact with folks on the networking side. So it's been good.
Yeah, I get a chance to hang out with your lovely wife, and my wife gets a chance to hang out, get a chance to, because I don't think they've ever met, quite frankly.
No, they haven't met at all. They haven't met in person. That's right.
So
That's right.
This will be maybe the first time.
Yeah.
No. We met at the jazz
Oh,
thing.
dinner. We had dinner.
Dinner,
We had
right?
dinner. That's
At
right.
the
That's
Smooth
right.
Jazz, where they
But we didn't
tribute
get
to
to
Nat King
hang out.
Cole.
We're gonna get to hang out this time.
Yeah. The other thing, guys, that we last week we had a young lady named Janice who talked about Reggio Pizza.
Right.
And so I talked to my guy, Antonio Baxton, who is a consultant for Reggio Pizza. And I had a chance to talk to the new owner. And we haven't picked a date yet, but we're going to show the power of Black people. Because we're going to have Reggio Pizza Day. It's probably going to be on a weekend. And we're going to tie it to something that ties a Black business conversation at the table. And we're going to get the colleges involved. We're going to try to impact the stores, and we're going to have a strong campaign in terms of just asking the stores to put Reggio Pizza on the shelves. And everyone's going to go out and buy Reggio Pizza, and it's going to be absolutely off the chain. So it's going to be impactful. We hope to influence hundreds of thousands of people buying Reggio Pizza. That's the power of Black people making it happen. So that's exciting. Hey, is our guy girl on?
I was just getting ready to say, not only is he on, he's in the building.
Oh, he's in the building. Oh, he's in the house.
The master is here in the building. Yeah. Right.
Hey, listen, I got to come in here and put this hammer down today.
Hammer, it's hammer time.
It's hammer time.
You already.
Hey, wait, we might owe $10 for saying that. Hammer need his money.
Yeah, he needs it. You're right.
Hey, listen, you also brought a guest with you?
Yes, sir, man. This is my intern. This is young Chris Sanders, man.
Chris Sanders, how you doing,
They
bro?
always try to say that we don't do enough for our youth, but this young man right here has proven himself worthy, and he needs to be around men that are doing some great things.
This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. We're going to take a brief second. We're going to come back. 773-591-1690. Call us later.
I can't see him though. I can't see Daryl. Tell him the live stream's not up.
All right. We are sitting here with Daryl Baxter. It's Cannabis Month, man, for the chamber. It's Cannabis Month for the chamber. Larry just was letting everybody know how important it is to come and check us out at the convention. But you starting it off. You starting off for something, man.
Come on, man. It's like this, man. The message I always say, inhale the message, exhale the action. This is what we got to do in that space.
I like that. I like that. That's funny. I like that.
I got those, man. That's from back in the day. I used to have a hot 16 bar.
There you go.
We ain't gonna.
Hey, Larry, can you do me a favor? You got the radio up?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, could you cut it down because we're hearing transposing in the background. About to put that on hold.
Okay.
Action about this issue.
Definitely. Because it's cannabis month. But cannabis in the community itself, we embrace it. It's just a different vibe. So the committee, I just wanted to ensure we're definitely going to talk policy. We're going to talk about the legalities and things that are taking place, not only in this state, but what's going on where this state is slipping and we're falling behind. You know, the further it goes without this licensing thing that's happening in this state,
Right.
you know, it's just going to be bad for those that have licenses. What are they going to be able to do? It's almost like they're going to have to revamp their business,
Right.
You know, because everyone else is going to be so much further along in the space. So we're going to talk about those things, but at the same time, we're a cannabis community. We're going to network. We're going to enjoy some libations, some food, shake hands, kiss babies. It's going to be a good time.
I like that.
Come on, it's going to be a good time, man. But I want to say one thing, man, that it's going to tie right back into cannabis. On my way to get young Chris, I was coming up 63rd Street, right off of Stony Island. And what did I see? All black businesses and their windows smashed in. You know, and that just struck a nerve with me, man. That this is something that's hard for people that are in cannabis that want to be entrepreneurs in the space. Where's your location? They always want us to come back to the hood to do things, but there are a lot of things these aldermen and all these guys that are in quote unquote power need to do in these communities to allow us to work in a safe haven, to have our customers in a safe haven. So it makes it difficult for us to tie that into a business plan and operate in that space.
That's you know what, and wow. So when you think about it, as we are fighting to make sure we get black ownership, we're fighting to make sure we can have people from the community work there. We're fighting to make sure, right, you know, that all these investments and stuff can be made. But the issue, this is an issue maybe not just with Chicago, since this is where we live. You know, doing business costs money, and you know, if you're not doing business, right, or sorry, if you're not making money, you're not doing business. And I guess the bigger issue is, you know, what you're saying. The whole city is feeling that, but that's going to make it harder for a cannabis entrepreneur. It's all, the business is already viewed to have certain elements. They came up with all these reasons why not to give us, you know, these licenses. And what you're saying is absolutely right. It's another hurdle to try to serve our people, but you know, that's something I think the mayor, the whole city, like you said, I think we're dealing with violence.
Right. Exactly. And see, that's the thing that, to your point, as you always stress, we got to keep them under fire. We have to, don't just jump in. I get so many calls now. Hey, I want to come out to your mixer, what you doing? And we're really interested in cannabis and want to talk about it. Man, what was you doing before this mixer? What were you doing before it's time to get that vote? Mm-hmm. This is when I know you serious about it. I'm in this thing every day, every single day. And I see how it affects others. And sometimes I just don't even have the words. But the only thing I can say is, look, we take our time, do what we need to do. We gather up the team. We go fight. And we continue to fight in order to get what we need out of this space. You know what I mean? Yeah. So,
cannabis is an issue, you know, I think politically it should be an issue. It should be an issue that everybody is kind of like, you know, what's your take? The candidates, all of them, Democrats and Republicans should be answering to take on cannabis because of what we're experiencing. I think you're right, man. Don't be happy.
The economic impact of cannabis and the lack thereof is an important topic that ought not to be glossed over. So, Daryl, we know you got an event coming up, the Mixer. Tell us a little bit about the brother that you're with, the young brother that you're with, that you're mentoring, coaching. And then let's talk a little bit about the event that you got coming up and what's the highlights of this event. And we're going to sit back and listen to you share with us what's going to happen.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'll start with young Chris, man. I met young Chris some months back. I was doing a talk at Oliver College, and where he's in a cannabis program, man.
They actually can? Yeah.
So I'm going to let the young brother, because he can articulate himself. That's why he's sitting with me.
Right on.
Tell him a little bit about the program, man.
Yes, sir. So I think the program started maybe 2 years ago, but right now, currently, they're in the process of making it full-fledged, full college credit.
Oh, you get credit for it. It wasn't a program. Gotcha.
Yes, sir. And it was originally a certificate, but right now, I'm taking it all the way in, man.
Yeah.
So learning, cultivation. So I just got done doing a process course where we learn extraction. We're in the greenhouse, getting real hands-on experience, man. So,
They let you touch the plants?
man.
There's the class that let you touch the plants.
And a black scientist leads the way, Dr. Stephen Philpott.
Okay.
Cool young brother.
Philpott. Yeah, I like it.
So with that in mind, I got the young brother out, man. He clung to the words when I was there, man. And I just saw something in his eye. And I said, hey, young brother, the one thing I want to do, I want to bring you on, get you around men that are really doing things in the space, but not only in the space, but what they're doing in life.
Man. That's the class that let you touch the plants.
Just saw something in his eyes. And I said, hey, young brother, the one thing I want to do, I want to bring you on, get you around men that are really doing things in the space, but not only in the space, but what they're doing in life as businessmen. And I say, hey, teach you how to be a mogul. A serial entrepreneur with a goal. You don't have to be in this space to do things. So I admire them for being in to take the time to really gather the knowledge, because it starts with education in this space, not just I smoke weed. Learn about the plant, understand what it is. There you go, providing a safe product, and working in this space now to go to the mixer, which is next weekend, May 29th, at the Beverly Hills Art Gallery, which is run by two amazing young black people, man. The artist Christine and my man Kevin P. Hall. They allowed me to get in the space with them and really talk about this thing called cannabis. And like I said,
that knows everything on policy, and not only in this state but everywhere, because he does it across several different functions. So we're definitely going to dive deep and touch on subjects with legislation, policy, things that we can do as activation to really lay out our plan as a committee to get people on board to see. We're not just going to be talking. We're going to put some actions in that can be implemented. Now we're setting our own book to how we should operate in this space.
I like it. And I think activating people is going to be, all of us have been trying to do this, getting more young people involved, seeing that there's an avenue to get in there. Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. It's funny, you said you saw it in his eyes. Was his eyes red?
No, not that.
Oh, you see that? Okay, all right.
Hey, Daryl.
Eagerness to learn. Okay, my man. Hey, you was in there in class all day. You might have caught her. Okay, I was just messing with you, man.
Hey, Daryl.
Yes, sir.
And Malcolm, take a moment and talk about, because it's so important for our audience to understand. Cannabis for recreation is one thing, and you can make money by having a dispensary. But talk about the industrial hemp and the other products. Just give us a little bit of highlight. I think our audience, may know something about it, but I think it's always important for those who may just be listening for the first time to really kind of get a real broad sense of why this product is such it could be such a economic engine with so many practical applications. So you want to do that for real quick?
Oh, sure, definitely. Because even when I entered this space, I already knew how the licensing situation was going to be. So when I created Buddy Love, we decided to go into the ancillary side of the business. So we started to look at how can we make an impact and still gain the market.
We're going to put some actions in that could be implemented. Now we're setting our own book to how we should operate in this space.
There you like it. And I think activating people is going to be, you got, all of us have been trying to do this, getting more young people involved, seeing that there's an avenue to get in there. Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. It's funny, you said you saw it in his eyes. Was his eyes red?
Gain some market share and be a part of this community without touching the plant. And so we decided to go a few ways. So we started our Buddy Love Apparel, which we say, hey, we'll make our premium products out of hemp and create this space and become the cannabis wear and such. And I said, okay, and then we could spin out of CBD products such as your gummy, your tinctures, your topicals. So now we're even going into the formulation of coffees and teas as well. And at the event, you will meet a business owner by the name of Noel Garcia. He has a business, NG Distillery. So he does small batch craft batches from vodka to the bourbons. And so we're actually teaming up to do some infused drinks, which we'll be kind of get to it in the fall. We're really trying to work out that solution and what that's going to be. But he will be in the building on Sunday, so you can taste his amazing elixirs. But there are just other opportunities to get into this space, even from the point of event planning. I've gotten so many things now for partnerships. Hey, can Buddy Love partner with us? We're a dinner company, and we do infused food. So can we merge together and do something on a larger scale? where we're
Right,
partnering.
right.
So there are many other
Yeah, hey,
opportunities
Daryl,
to get into the space
one of the
and
things I
craft
also
out
want to
that niche
mention is that,
that you can
you
make
know,
money.
one of
You can
our
still change
people on
the
our
lives
entertainment
of your
committee, the
family.
Grammy Award
That
winning
and you don't have to touch the plant.
artist
You don't
Bryce
have to touch it.
Wilson has
So
a cannabis
Yeah.
a tea
yes, sir.
that has
One of the things I also want to mention is that,
a little bit
you know,
of
one
hemp
of
in
our
it.
people on our
And it's
entertainment committee,
incredible.
the
I've had
Grammy
a number of
Award
people
winning
who tried it. We're
artist
trying to get that
Bryce
product
Wilson has a cannabis
throughout the
drink,
state.
a tea
And,
that has
you know, they have a one heck of a team.
a little bit of hemp
But it
in it.
has some real
And it's incredible. I've had a number of
benefits,
people
but it's a great
who
drink
tried
at the
it.
same time. So
We're
I
trying to
just want
get
our
that
audience to
product
understand that,
throughout the
you know,
state.
we have to
and you know,
be thinkers
they have a one heck
and
of a
not
tea.
react.
But it has some real
They did us wrong.
municipal
You know, that's
benefits,
what I'm going to
but
say.
it's
They
a
did
great
us wrong
drink
in
at the
terms
same
of
time. So
issue
I just want our
I
audience
remember
to
the excitement,
understand that, you know,
and the
we have
enthusiasm
to
that Black people
be
had and
thinkers
that the country
and not
had about
react.
this was going to be the great
They did us wrong.
equity program
You know, that's
for
what
the
I would
rest
say.
of the
They did us
country
wrong in terms
that
of this
people
whole
were so
issue of
proud of.
cannabis. I remember the
And to
excitement,
be quite honest with you, it has
and the
been one of the great
enthusiasm that Black people had, and
catastrophes
that
when it
the
comes
country
to
had
setting
about this was
expectations
going to
because
be the great
our legislators and others were
equity
involved in
program
it.
for the rest of the
There were some more
country
involved than
that
others,
people were so
but
proud
no
of.
one's asking the
And
question,
to be quite
in
honest
my
with you,
opinion,
it has
that
been one of the
everyone's
great
getting off the hook
catastrophes
in
when it
terms of
comes
Black
to setting
participation, in
expectations,
terms
because
of Black people
our
still being
legislators and
incarcerated,
others
and
were
no Black
involved in it.
people
There
or
were
brown
some more
people
involved than
or
others.
anyone who
But
dealt
no
with
one's
cannabis have been
asking
let
the
out of prison
question,
to
in my
this day.
opinion, that
I
everyone's getting
mean,
off
there's
the
a
hook
problem.
in
There's a
terms of
real
Black
serious problem
participation,
here.
in terms of
And
Black
there's a
people
few
still
people
being
making a lot of
incarcerated,
money.
and
The
no
state's
Black
making a lot
people
of money,
or brown
but
people or
and the
anyone
people
who
started
dealt
to
with
make a lot of
cannabis
money,
has
but that's
been let
about
out
it.
of prison to this day.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a problem. There's a real serious problem here. And there's a few people making a lot of money. The state's making a lot of money, but and the people started to make a lot of money, but that's about it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Listen, we're gonna take a break. We're gonna come back because I want to hear the young man's comment when we get here.
Definitely.
The Wake Up is brought to you by the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce, sponsored in part by BCO, a unified organization committed to supporting the economic growth and advancement of Black contractors, industry professionals, and communities. It's who they are, Black contractors, owners, and executives. Visit bcoechicago.org for more. The Illinois Black Media Fund, supporting the voice of independent Black media professionals across the Midwest. The Illinois Black Media Fund.
Daryl Best, Young Chris.
All right. We're going to have some questions being asked from our callers a little bit later. Call in at 773-591-1690. We are talking with Daryl Bester and Young Chris about cannabis month. You know, well, before we left, Chris, I think you wanted to add a comment. You know, we like to hear the young people.
Yeah.
And it's
so
a really
I think
popular
the question
phrase,
was just about industrial hemp.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just going to add that, number one, USDA is providing.
and that's just a start, but it's many different uses, and the product is not just to be consumed. Like, I need people to understand that. Like, there are so many different uses, from construction to beauty and health and wellness to modeling homes. That's right. Like, there are multiple industries that this plant can be incorporated in, and it's not being involved in. I just wanted to say,
man, Daryl, where you find this, young brother? That's what I'm talking about. And that's how people should be thinking. And I'm glad even talking about, consuming. You know, and I think that's a big thing for our people, is understand the difference from whether our community accepts the recreational use as part of the culture and all of that, but this is business now. Now we're talking about money, right? And ways to make money, and boom, getting young people's interest in it. Let them be thinking about, right, we're not letting them, you know what I mean? So yeah, that makes me feel good, brother.
Yeah, right, absolutely. Hey, my hats off to young Chris in terms of being mentored by our dear friend Daryl Bester, and we're excited about the mixer coming up. Guys, I'm going to pivot just for a moment because I want your input on some other things also. And I'm going to kind of set the stage for this conversation.
I know it.
Okay. You know, like I told people last week, is that I'm a student of philosophy, and one of the great philosophers was Socrates. And Socrates stung people into thinking. He imposed a question that led us to our own understanding. So I'm going to pose a couple questions to us real quick today. You know, when you go back and you take a look at slavery, cotton, you know, the product, most of us know that in King Cotton days, more millionaires were created than any other time in the history of the United States. And, you know, and that was a value product. And they used us to pick the cotton, work us overtime, didn't pay us. Well, I didn't pay us for overtime work, you know, didn't pay us. Yeah, somebody else got paid, but we didn't get paid, you know. And once we got, you know, once we understood our value, and here's what the question is, even in cannabis and everything, it's always about value. You know, how do you value yourself? What's the value added proposition in business? Because when business people do something, it's about value added. Sometimes our community failed to understand value. So I'm going to have the value question in terms of today. But it takes me just a second to get there. So slavery, we were valuable as what, a workforce, right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So we were valuable as a workforce. When they emancipated Black people, what happened to Black people? Those who had skills went north, and those who didn't have skills, what did they do? They went back to the plantation and became sharecroppers, right? And they were back in slavery. And then after that, you had the issue where they were locking young Black men up for 10 and 12 and 13, 15 years for spitting on the ground. And they had a massive, for anything that they could find. So we were still a workforce that they needed. Now, eventually, Eli Whitney created the cotton gin. Now, interestingly enough, everyone benefited from the cotton gin, but even though he was the guy who did the patent and invented it, he got paid little or no money for one of the best products that gave, again, a competitive global advantage for the United States. I'm just making that as an earmark there, that he did not get any money, virtually any money, for the fact that he created and had a patent. He didn't not create it and not have a patent. He had a patent and everyone infringed on his patent, and there was nothing done. So there was no compensation for the great invention that he created, okay? Now, if we ask ourselves, what is the most value? I'm going to transition to a global perspective. The reason that Russia and Ukraine is an issue is because they impact all of us from a economic perspective, in terms of energy costs going up and in terms of food costs going up. So it's a value added. We have to understand where value is created. When you have value, you can leverage value. And I want to ask a question of the panel here and also the audience. Where is the value that Black people have? What's their biggest, the things that we have, that we do, that is so valuable that it could become a national security issue? And I want to see what people say, because I want to tell you what I think the real value is. And I think this is a very important conversation. So if you take a look at Black people as a whole right now, Daryl, what do you guys think, Malcolm, Chris, what do you think our greatest value is in this country that they can't do without us, besides massive consumers?
I want to hear what the young brother has to say. What do you think? Let's see what he has to say.
Honestly, this is owning the land, right? I think at the end of the day, they can't say what they can do or how they can victimize or
it's your property.
Any crime, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. This is our land, you know. Building those communities, that's what they want to destroy. They want to take us apart, right?
I like that.
It always starts there. And household. Because going back to the topic of, like just slavery and crops and patent, I think that's what he was really touching on, like ownership. And I feel like if we were to put more ideas out and they see that, then of course they're gonna say, oh, well, they're just doing their own thing, Well, maybe we don't need to worry about it, You
think if we put out more ideas, you think they'll leave us alone?
Yeah, because I hope you're right, young brother. I don't know. But I'll say this. As we know, technology is advancing. So, like when they see black people getting into tech, then that's when they can get scared. You know what I'm saying? But I say, because we're on cannabis, and I was just telling a friend, I say people in the cannabis look at the cannabis, land, like real estate, and tech. Like they're all centered. But it's gonna.
So that's our potential.
Right. Yeah. So let me do this, guy, because I need to move the conversation forward. Let me ask this question: are we valuable if we stop playing basketball? Could we impact the NBA?
Larry,
Could I jump in the line in that one there?
Come on, Michael.
Okay, I need you to be quick though, because I'm trying to get someplace.
Absolutely. I think that we absolutely could still impact the games, all those games, just because if we're not playing the games, then the games won't move very far. So just the fact that the human capital of the basketball players really are the bedrock of the game right there. And I'd like to just throw, this is my opinion, but I'd like to throw one little fact out there to you when we talk about the cotton gin, the impact on slavery, what the real collateral was and things. Now, while it was true that the cotton gin reduced the number of labor of removing the seeds from the cotton, it did not reduce the need for enslaved labor to grow.
Right, you still had to pick it.
And in fact, the opposite occurred. Cotton growing became so profitable for enslavers that it greatly increased their demand of both black and enslaved laborers.
So, wait, I'm going to add this. That's a good point, Mike. Very good point. I love it when Mike jump in like, look, but here's the thing. I think, when we talk about us having impact in these industries, yes, we are a big consumer, so we absolutely that's our value. We can choose with our dollar. Mentioned in the NBA, but I think honestly, a more tangible thing that we all have is that once you turn 18, you can vote.
Hey,
that's right.
Hey, see now you see now.
If you're not watching the Trump people, they even voting to get guys in that will change the election. So your vote can do everything. You know what I'm saying? And everybody get one just by waking up in the morning and turning 18. So you can literally, if you educate yourself to use the power of that, and as a person that's a lobbyist and consultant, there's money in politics, right? I mean, it's in getting messages across and conveying ideas. And every last one of us has that vote. And we have the ability to get our people together, and now we got 100 votes. And then get our people together, and they have 1,000 votes. So to me, it's important for all these businesses to be connected to government, which is controlled by the one thing I think our people do have, and that's the vote. And you took that right out of my mouth. I knew that you were going. I knew it.
So let me pivot, guys, here real quick, because I'm trying to get someplace. Is that Malcolm hit it on the nose? Is that now? But here's the thing: the caveat I want to put a twist on is that can the Democratic Party win without black vote? Can they win without black vote? Now, can the Bulls win without Michael Jordan? Now, if Michael Jordan was getting paid the same thing on the bench, that
you be lying, you be weighing the scales up. You be like, can you win without Mike? Of course not.
You can't.
It's like this, President. It's what you think. It's something my wife dropped on me yesterday. You will not heal by going back to what broke you. Right. Okay? Right. So to your point, we have to have that control to move the needle. And we have never took the obligation to do so. Everything we were given is because we were given permission to do. You understand what I'm saying? There we go. Given permission to do. Right.
Absolutely.
What have we actually done.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Daryl, you're right on the money, and we want to get the audience involved. But I mean, let's give us one other caveat. One, you can't win without us. Number two, Michael Jordan gets paid more than the person on the bench. Okay. Now, black people, if you don't understand your value, if Michael Jordan didn't understand how valuable, he wouldn't get paid all the money. LeBron James wouldn't get paid all the money. If black people don't understand their value to the Democratic Party, then they can't leverage it. And my point I'm making, insanity is doing the same thing in the same way, expecting a different outcome. Until black people understand their value to the party and make the party demand a right. I mean, you don't have to ask, you demand, because you can't win without me. I'm that essential, to your own party that I should be able to, when I say something, it ought to have resonated with you in such a way that you know it. But if you don't understand who you are, and my thing has always been that black people got to move to the center and make both sides compete for their interests. Until we learn to do that, we become political neophytes in the game that we simply get done because we don't value. It's like having, when we were single, if you had a girl who didn't do nothing, you did everything, you were in problem. When she left, you were like, goodbye, because she didn't add no value. Well, the value we add is pretty significant. Malcolm, I know we got to go.
You're going to have these callers. Hey, look, call in at 773-591-1690. We want to hear your thoughts on what we talk about. We'll be back in a minute.
Good wake.
Hey, Malcolm, we probably should take some calls. We got any calls?
I don't think he can. Can he hear you? Can you hear Malcolm?
Yeah, I can.
We're here. We back. We got a bunch of calls. I want to say kind of in advance. You get 30 seconds. No long dissertations. We got a lot of calls to get to today. All right, Mike, you have something to say before I get started?
No, sir.
All right, let's go. Caller, Mr. Moore. Craig Moore, you're on.
Hey, gentlemen. Hey, I've had a lot more to say than 30 seconds, but I will condense it to this. And actually, that's Brother Chris.
Okay.
Yeah, listen, that hemp plant is the most useful plant on this planet. You use almost every molecule of it. And I'll end this by saying that I'm intending to end up building buildings extruded from a printer with that hemp. So I'll leave it with that. That's where we're going with that.
Right on.
Right
on, Craig. That's what I'm talking about. Y'all have a good one, Craig.
Yes, sir.
Gustavo, you're on.
Thank you, my brother, and thank the illustrious panel. We got to get some women in there because women in the cannabis industry, black women particularly.
I know. Kiana probably listening to this right now. Should have had her on here, right? Go ahead, sir.
With that being said, I do want to start off with just a brief synopsis, and I know you said we got 30 seconds, but there are philosophers that are not Socrates, Aristotle, and Plato. One is Nelson Mandela. South Africa just legalized, the first country on the continent of Africa to legalize, decriminalize, cannabis. The entire country is now at a free-for-all, but our people are still fighting here in the state of Illinois for a federally Schedule I drug, which means that at any point in time, the federal government can take ownership, literally criminalize what folks are making these $2 and $3 billion off of a year at a time right now. Black folks aren't, so we're not at jeopardy. Hemp is an international cash crop, meaning that if you ain't got $500 million and you're trying to get the hemp industry, you might make a few nickels here and there, but you ain't no real player. So let's keep that real as well. But Brother Nelson Mandela said, real leaders must be ready to sacrifice all for the freedom of their people. And I think that's really what we're talking about. We're talking economics, and that's a wonderful thing in a capitalist society. But we also have to take into consideration what are we willing to sacrifice. The brother was mentoring the young brother
in Olive Harvey. That's the sacrifice, right, that our community members somehow have to be engaged upon. I did cannabis law at Olive Harvey College. Once I realized that it was all the industrial players, the Crescos and the Curalives that were actually funding that program, I decided that not the right fit for Black culture and community. And I think the brother asked the question earlier. And what we really see when we see Michael Jordan is not just Michael Jordan. It's the culture. It's his swag. It's his different appeal off the court. Nothing to do with basketball that made Michael Jordan Michael Jordan. But Michael Jordan is still owned by Nike. They license his image. But he doesn't make the money that Nike makes. He's being paid by the owner of Nike. When do we actually wake up and get to this realization, self-actualization, that wait, the way that the laws are written, the way that we're implementing the laws, the way that the laws that are interpreted are actually crushing us out of the cannabis industry and every other industry within the United States.
Oh, right there. Just right on.
Getting our community on that, we're in trouble.
Right on, brother. Appreciate you. Good point. Good point. All right, we're going to go to Mike. Mike, what you got for us?
Yes, I agree with the previous brother 100%. He hit the nail on the head when he's talking about the way the laws are implemented that crush you. Whoever structures the law or structures a thing, then they structure in favor of them rather than and against you, and so on. So that's what has been happening here. But I just want to say this because, you know, I touch in all of those particular areas that you're talking about. With all that getting, we need to get an understanding. It's the old as well as the young all together. And the point about that is the guy named Ray Billiard, who's a billionaire, a fund manager. He looked at some research and saw a pattern in the past of history and how things are going. And this is what we can do is look in our own families. What we have is black genius to figure out how to get around all these blocks over all these decades and centuries that our enemy has put up against us, regardless of what color, shape, or form that they are. So that's our basic, a big thing. And we owning the land and coming up with a substitute of wheat will put you in big control position in the whole world.
Right on, Mike. We got you. We appreciate you, brother. It's a good point, though. Good point. I think we're hearing the right thing, so y'all don't be upset. I'm moving through these calls. We got a lot of folks want to hear from. Princess, you're on.
Yes, good morning. You put me on lockdown with a 30 seconds.
It's a lie, Princess. It's a lie. It's a lie. I'm trying to be on lockdown.
This is a Jew here. While you all are talking about the cannabis, you know, this is the month of, May and June is coming. The Mr. G.W. Murray, the gardening, planter, and fertilizer distributor, who patented 520,000 patents, 892.
Wow.
You do know him.
I do know.
That's one of our black inventors.
Right on.
Now, when it comes to the cotton, I'm a cotton girl. I not only picked the cotton, I watched where the cotton went from which I picked it, and I weighed it too. I didn't have to, but I wanted to. I went inside of the cotton gin factory, and that's when my eyes opened up. So I tell all of you out there that are T-shirt designers, be a millionaire cotton designing on T-shirts. It's one of the most biggest industry in the planet. Everybody is expressing themselves on what? A cotton T-shirt.
Thank you so much.
We both got T-shirts on right now.
Everybody got something. Everybody got something cotton here. Right on.
But you got to understand this. There's more to cotton than what you are.
Look, that's going to be on the next show. We can do a cotton show. We went there.
Don't forget Mr. G.W. Murray, though.
Yeah,
G.W. one is ready for you to plant your cannabis.
We got
the gardening planter and the fertilizer distributor.
All right, take care. We got you. Thanks. All right. That's good. Hey, Karen, you're on.
Well, thank you. Princess said it all. Just like it's more to cotton, it's more to cannabis than just smoking it. And Michael Jordan didn't own himself, so I wish we would really understand it, like the gentleman said. Also, your wife said, if we keep going back to what harmed us, we'll never move forward. That young man in that audience has spoken more wisdom in there, because what we don't do as older people, we don't give the voice to the young as much as we should. That young man just came in there and rocked it. New ideas. Listen, the old ideas are killing us. Let's bring in some new ideas. Only thing I hear us push is sports and voting. They both are politics. They both are sports. Let the young man speak a little more. We need to hear more from the youth, because they got the new ideas. Hey, listen, our old ideas didn't work, babe. So let's get out the way and give the mic to the young people. Thank you.
Right on, Karen. You're right. Look at you. You trying to take my time. Chris, I see what you want. Hold on for a minute. We're going to go to Mike from St. Louis. Mr. Michael from St. Louis. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm doing good. I hope you guys are all doing well. I'm going to make this real quick. I don't have time to elaborate. Okay. Number one, the youth social media can get the vote out. They can get the vote out to millions of other youth that can talk to their parents. So that's a wasted resource if we don't use it. On the cotton, if we don't get out and win this upcoming election, we're going to go back to picking the cotton. Because if these Republicans get in, you can lose health care, your right to abortion, your right to vote affirmative action. Next, it's the math, people. If we don't get the Hispanic vote and the women vote, the gay vote, all of those votes, there is no way. When I left Chicago in 1969 after King was assassinated, I thought everybody knew who James Brown was. It wasn't until I moved to other states that didn't have black radio that they weren't playing the Motown sound. So don't be fooled by thinking that everybody thinks like the folks do in Chicago. Last two things, we need a black constitution. The Constitution was written by white men for white people. And it needs to be reparations month, if not during a reparations month during Black History Month. And I'll end with that. But
that was a mouthful.
It's the young social media, and nobody is doing it. Oh, and the last lady, finally, the old guard. I'm 65 years old. The old guard don't even want to let me in. I can't get in the NAACP down here. I can't get in black organizations because they want to control the bag.
Mike, I appreciate the comments, brother. He said, yeah. All right, we got time for one more. We have Cliff from Connecticut. Cliff, good morning, brother. And Cliff said, y'all took too long to come back to me. And there we have it. Well, listen, I mean, we got a few minutes before we, so look, I think we heard a lot of good stuff. One, we heard that young folks need to be involved. I think we all agree with that. I think social media from young folks is very active. Y'all get down on that. But also using it to spread like what the opportunities are, right? What the, what people could be thinking about. What's the new hustle, right? Everybody ain't going to be a rapper, basketball player. We heard that. But also this idea of, it really sounds like, the gist of it is that we have to think outside the box. And I think that's what's always worked for us. Whether, I think, Larry, you was talking about Michael Jordan, not to say that he was a man, but he was giving an analogy of his value. But, the idea is business is business. And you work to develop business. You don't walk into business being successful, being a boss or whatever, unless somebody already established it for you. What you do with business is you build it. And there are always going to be people that are bigger than you. And there's going to be people that you are buying from, if you will, you're selling goods. But as you grow your business and you partner with people and you grow your impact, you all of a sudden selling to the people that you was buying for. And then one day, if you got it really good, just like what you learn is cultivation, then you growing and building and manufacturing the things that everybody needs. But that's a process. Nobody gets to go there off jump unless you got billions of dollars. And that's okay.
Hey, Malcolm, real quick, one of the other things I want to mention real quick is that, obviously the cruise and the convention's coming up, so we want people to be aware of that. But, the other side is that, procurement has been an issue for us for a long time. And I just want to give this, because we're going to come back to this hopefully next week, where, the Illinois Department of Revenue had a contract for debt collection, which means those who did not pay the revenue department they put out a contract. The contract was renewed, and it had a 0% goal. Now, it would be okay.
The state mandate is 30%. You're supposed to be trying to get 30%.
A 0% goal. And when you call and you talk to the people in the CPO, Ellen Daly, everybody's passing the ball, and there's a lot of procurement that's happening, that's going on. There's some that they're stopping and putting goals on, and there's some that they're not. We got if we simply just take and fix this procurement process and get adequate participation, because I don't care if you got 75% minority participation, it could still mean that Black people may get 2%, at the end of the day. I want to know what is a Black participation, not the 30%. I want to know what Black people get. And that's what Black people ought to ask themselves, is that when I'm talking to agency and leaders, they all tell me, hey, look, people of color are doing well. Well, what does that mean to me? Tell me what Black people are doing. That's what's important to me. So
that's exactly right. Man, listen, plug us one more time on the event.
Definitely the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce and the Cannabis Committee, May 29th, next Sunday, the Cannabis 101 Mixer. You can get your tickets at Eventbrite. Come join us. Come get down.
Come on out to Beverly Hills. Hey, Larry, how we doing? Hey, I want to thank Chris for being here too.
Hey, Chris.
Larry, how we doing?
Hey, Malcolm, ain't no stopping us now, man.
We're on the move. Let's do it.